Blink Twice marks the directorial feature film debut of Zoe Kravitz, daughter of Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet. The film's story revolves around Frida, portrayed by Naomi Ackie, as a cocktail waitress enamored with tech billionaire Slater King. At a gala where Frida and her roommate Jess are working, they decide to sneak in after swapping their attire. Frida's life then takes a dramatic turn when she catches the eye of Slater, who becomes infatuated with her and starts to introduce her to all of his friends and invites her and her roommate to his private island to party. Frida and Jess accept and enjoy the beautiful view, the lavish dinners, and copious amounts of drugs. But with all suspense films, everything can't be roses and peaches, as suddenly strange things start to occur and Frida starts to question her sanity. Initially, the idea of watching Blink Twice didn't interest me. The trailer suggested a predictable storyline. However, the persistent recommendations from those opinions I value compelled me to give it a shot. Now let's go through the positives of this film. The film is a visual feast for the eyes, masterfully shot with the eye for detail that enhances its atmosphere. Naomi Ackie as Frida delivers a performance that is both grounded and dynamic, effectively capturing the transition from daydreaming waitress to somebody caught in the whirlwind of luxury and suspicion. Her portrayal of Frida's descent into paranoia as she uncovers the island's secrets is particularly engaging, making the narrative's twist points feel earned. I also like to give kudos to all the supporting cast in this film. Adria Arjona, Christian Slater, everybody in the movie does a fantastic job because I think they did a terrific job in elevating the movie in a way that we're supposed to like these characters and dislike them at the same time. There's certain characters we're supposed to dislike and then like, and then certain characters we're supposed to like and then dislike, and they do a pretty decent job in balancing that out for the most part. So I have to give them credit because I think those actors did a good job, and it felt like they were actually enjoying themselves while they were making this movie. Also, the film is remarkably funny. There are times when characters respond to situations or to each other with a funny quip, and it actually made me chuckle a few times. That's another positive thing. The film does do a very good job at relaxing you, easing you into this world, gets you invested in these characters, and then when the turn happens, it manages to change your entire mood. Once you discover what is happening and how it's happening, although it may be cartoonish, it does change the tone of the film instantly, and you start feeling anxious and nervous, waiting for the next shoe to drop. It's like you're watching a ticking time bomb. So I will give Zoe Kravitz credit in being able to achieve this, although she does end up failing in the end. Also, I think Zoe Kravitz did a fantastic job picking the music for this film. Yes, they are all songs we've heard before, several times before, but she knows exactly when to use them and they work with every scene. Honestly, the music was one of the best things about this movie. Now let's get to the bad. Boys, there are a lot of bad. Channing Tatum, although he's a great actor in the movie, I just don't buy him as a tech billionaire. I mean, have you seen tech billionaires? Do any of them look like Channing Tatum? And for him to be attracted to Frida, I mean, I get what they were doing. When you look at all the girls, you think to yourself, why would these guys pick these girls? But just in the fact that Channing Tatum's supposed to be infatuated with Frida, although they do try to make it make sense at the very end of the film, it makes zero sense leading up to it at all, because he seems like he's romantically invested in her, like he actually loves her, and it just doesn't work. Her to be infatuated with him, it makes sense, but vice versa, no. And the only girl, I'm not saying this just because of her, I'm saying any of the girls there, honestly, don't think he'd have any interest in, besides maybe Sarah, who was like a reality TV star, and she's like the most attractive girl there compared to the rest of them. Another negative of this film is the stereotypical writing. Let's get the dregs of society and put them with these rich white elitist males. These white men that get away with everything because they are white and rich. This is a common theme with Zoe Kravitz. Makes me wonder if something happened to her for her to hate white people so much. Mind you, she comes from biracial parents. Lenny's father is white, and Lisa Bonet's mother is white, and Zoe's husband, Carl Glusman, is white. So I'm not sure why she needs to constantly shit on half of her race all the time. She did it in Batman also. Maybe it was written for her, but it's a constant trope in all of this. Is white people bad just because white people bad? And if you're a white man, you're particularly bad. And even have a whole little diatribe between Channing Tatum's character and another male character. Says, you're even worse because you did nothing. And I get what the whole idea of this film was. It's the woke ideology deciding to make a movie. Let's portray all white men as evil degenerates. I get it. I understand. I get the Jeffrey Epstein correlation, but at the same time, we also did have Diddy, right? And actually, this film kind of parallels Diddy more than it would Epstein. In the fact that we're now finding out that Diddy's the one that was drugging up people, male and female, at all his parties and having his way with them. But I guess that's not the story she wanted to tell. She wanted to tell her white man bad story. So we just have to accept what we got. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of spoilers. So please, if you actually want to watch this movie, go ahead and watch it and then come back here. I honestly don't think I can really recommend this film because of the end. Most of the film is not terrible. It's actually decent until you get to the very end of this movie. And it's just ridiculous and stupid. That's exactly what it becomes. It becomes ridiculous and stupid. So I'm going to give my rating now. I'm going to give this movie 1 out of 5 stars. This is absolute garbage. Just the ending really ruined it, which was it was a terrible, terrible ending. It was so dumb. It had potential. I'm telling you, this film had potential. So we discover in this movie, this is the spoiler part, right? They invited these girls because they're just nothing to them. They mean nothing. They're low class, they're garbage, they're nothing. They're gonna take them, they're gonna wine them and dine them, show them have a beautiful time, but secretly they're drugging them so much that they will forget everything they do to them. So they abuse the hell out of these women and have their way with them, but the girls don't remember anything. And then the next day they're just happy to be there again and everything's normal and fine. Although they start looking and noticing things and not understanding how certain things happen. I was like, oh, what's going on here? But they just forget everything because they're being drugged throughout the entire trip. One of the girls, Jess, Frida's roommate, gets bit by a snake. And she's nervous and worried, and they tell her, don't worry about it. And is the snake venomous? Probably, but don't worry, you'll be fine. Okay, they didn't even try to suck out the poison if it was venomous or anything like that, just left her the way she was, and then she starts to contemplate things. She goes, don't you think it's a little bit weird that everybody's so nice all the time and they always want to ask you, how's everything going? Are you having a good time? Yeah, and excited. She goes, this place doesn't feel right. I want to leave. I don't feel good. And then her friend says, please don't ruin this for me, because she's wanted this so bad. She's been fantasizing about Slater King for so long. She just needs to be with him. So her friend says, okay. And then she vanishes. The next day, she's not around. But funnily enough, Frida walks into Slater's room and sees one of Slater's stereotypical maid, and she's drinking something, and then she asks her, do you want to drink it? She drinks it, but she doesn't ask her because she can't speak English, but she gives her this drink. She drinks it. She goes, oh my God, what is it? To discover that it's venom. She's drinking venom. The same venom that bit her friend. And all of a sudden, her memory starts to come back. This is the comical part, where this is like, what? So she starts remembering Jess and all these things. And then she goes, where's Jess? Because Jess hasn't been around. And none of the other girls can remember this girl. Imagine having a drug like this where you don't remember a person you were partying with for an entire week. I mean, geez Louise. Okay, so the other girl, Sarah, the model, or the reality star, she has a bruise on her arm, and she starts wondering too. She thinks that things aren't normal, whatever. She gives her these venom, and she starts remembering things. Then she starts remembering things, and they both start to remember the abuse that they endured by these men and what was going on. And it was awful. And they had opportunity to do something good with this at this point. They could have made it more barbaric, more brutal, even though it was brutal, and it does make you feel uneasy. Mind you, I do say Zoe Kravitz did manage to keep you happy, fun, you know, with the music, with the atmosphere, with the characters, and the love story a little bit, like trying, but it didn't work. The love story didn't work for me. Him being infatuated really does not work. But they try, and you're in this little light mood, and then when the turn does happen, and she discovers that they're being abused and everything, it does get you to feel nervous and anxious, maybe because we know about everything with Diddy and Epstein, and we know that this power dynamic does exist in the real world. But they could have made it more barbaric and more brutal, as I already said. They could have lead up to every single girl was already going to die no matter what, but that's not the case. We find out that this is not the first time that Frida has been here. She was here once before, and that's how she got a scar on her head, and that somehow, some way, she's still infatuated with him even after all of this, and she manages to make her way back into Slater King's life, and that he actually likes her. And see, this is the part where it gets good and bad. I like the girls discovering that they were abused and what's going on here. Okay, it's stupid and corny and cartoonish, but I like it. I like how one of the girls later on, because she's one of the crazy ones that does the most amount of drugs, these two girls, how they have to drink so much venom throughout the day, and then later that's when they realize everything that happened to them. And then we do see visually of the abuse that they underwent. Again, could have been more barbaric than it actually was, okay? But the return, and this was when the movie got good, when they start going after the men and they start attacking the men, and what happens to Christian Slater, or what happens to the cook from Scary Movie 4, 5, and 6, what happens to Haley Joel Osment. That was all fun. And also the turn with Gina Davis, where you discover that she didn't want to know. She knew everything that happened, but she wanted her mind erased because she didn't want to be complicit or acknowledge that she has been complicit in this. So she wants her mind erased, her memory erased from this. So that was all good. But then it gets to the final end. And there was one part where it could have gotten even better. This is two turns right here. There's a scene where Slater tells Frida, he goes, "You think I'm gonna kill you? I'm not gonna kill you. You're like my best friend." Now, it would have been fun here if we discovered the second turn, besides the fact that we discovered that Frida has been there before, was that she's been in on this, and she's actually been friends with Slater since they were young, and she likes this, and she likes this. That would have been fucking interesting to do. And then have her being a willing participant in this. That would have been interesting. They didn't want to do that. Another interesting thing would have been for the girls to do what they were doing and kill and torture the men. Have them do that. Have it end with her walking away with everything being gone. No, that's not what they do. They do some corny ass shit where she tricks him somehow into giving him the drug that makes him forget, and then he's bucking out, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And then what happens? She saves his life so she could be Yes Queen at the end. The boss of the CEO, a cocktail waitress with no experience to anything, is running Slater King's company because she's drugging him and keeping him retarded. Fucking dumb. The dumbest fucking ending in the world. This movie sucks ass. 1 out of 5 stars. Dislike the film. Anyway, if you saw this movie and you liked it, let me know in the comment section down below why you liked it. If you disliked it, let me know why you disliked it. I'm saying there were some good parts, but the ending just ruined the entire film for me. Anyway, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here. I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.